had a sensational night the other night. Obviously, hanging Kofi's jersey. Really got to spend a great amount of time with him the day after, which was always good. But very appreciative of everybody who made that happen, and I know something that he and his family won't forget, and he earned that. So, interesting game, I thought. Two really good defensive teams that looked like neither one of us played defense. We both went along at a pretty good clip. Offensively, I say that, I thought both teams tried and had some successes in the first half, but second half just kind of became an old-fashioned shootout. Won the rebounding battle, big part of it. I thought we were pretty efficient offensively, really good balance. Made a few mistakes late in some ball screen coverages, but it's hard to walk into a gym by yourself and make 9 out of 10. Give them credit. Tyler Billadu was outstanding. Made a couple of tough shots, but some things to learn from, and we've been through that, and now it's Michigan State, and we've seen them once, so it's somewhat familiar. It's not just a completely new scout, and obviously them coming off a loss, we know we'll get their best shot. So we got to play better than we did. It'd be nice to have hopefully have Casper's on the floor longer than 7 or 8 minutes, and Tommy somewhat healthy. So we will we'll line it up and see. And every time we get together, it's a good old-fashioned rock fight and a hard contested game. And I wouldn't expect anything different tomorrow. Another very special day, having Terrence Shannon back. Man, I could sit here and go for 30 minutes on the season he had last year and his improvement and what he's done. And now he's getting a little playing time and had great success last night. It was pretty cool to see him. I text Tyler during the game. I said he just looks like he belongs, and physically and the athleticism, and really happy for him. A young man that's earned the right. He's earned it, and his commitment to work will be something that I always will remember. The 5 a.m. shooting. I'll always miss the smile, and remember the smile and his fun-loving nature. But again, it's pretty cool not just to have one, but now this will be 3. He's a Chicago guy. I know his family's got to be very, very proud of him, and so are we. And it's pretty cool to see, to have 3 of those guys, in the last few years, put their names in the rafters, and well deserved.
Brad, along those lines, when we talked to you when all this was announced, you said, come back and ask me later when you've had time to reflect on what that is to have Kofi and TJ and Io. Have you had a chance to zoom out on it at all?
Yeah, a little bit. I think it's more of a tribute to our staff, recruiting good players that fit. I think it's a tribute to our culture. I think what we try to stand for here, in hard work and accountability and the everyday guy mentality. Obviously, they're very talented, but I think that there's a lot of people here that had their hands on helping mold young guys into becoming great. And that's everybody's dream. And, you know, I'm very, very proud of the fact we've got a culture that allows us to be able to develop guys and see guys grow into what they possibly can be, which is the very best they can be, and there's a lot of people involved in that. So yeah, I'm pretty proud of that.
Right, now to see Io and Kofi here together at the same time, and then Terrence comes afterwards. So what did he mean to your program?
You know, they're drastically different points of the process. We have never wavered from trying to win a national championship here. I'll be very honest, I got really tired when I first got here. Let's just be an NCAA tournament team. They hired the wrong guy for that. And I know those are steps in the process. I've never been about that. And I would never have come to Illinois if I didn't think we could win a national championship. My vision and memories of this place were way bigger than just getting the NCAA tournament, national championship. But we had to go through the steps, and if along that way, it's the way I was raised. There's no shortcuts. It's just hard work, and it's just a process. And Io started that and didn't have a lot, and he and Trent, and then it was, you know, we had Kofi, and there's another piece, and we didn't take any shortcuts. We were in a different time. No NIL, no transfer portal, but we built something pretty good. We became a 1 seed, and I think that showed that we could do that we could be a national championship. We got upset, but we showed we could be a national championship caliber team. And then it's about the next guys, and it's about continuing to do that. And I don't want to say we've been to the top of the mountain, we haven't, but you got to be able to stay there. And Terrence coming in, we knew him because we'd recruited him in high school. But to see him grow and develop into what he became, you know, I think Terrence Lloyd's been looked at as a good athlete, defender, you know, didn't know how well he shot it, you know, scored more points than anybody in one season. Think about that. And the system fit. Now I'm excited to see who's next. And I think that's a tribute to all those guys and their hard work. The difference, you know, I think Io was the first to start it, that we could even get a good player here. You guys remember we struck out and missed on a lot. We had crappy facility. We had an oven. At that time things were different. We struck out and missed. We could, you know, we had a hard time beating by-game opponents. Kofi added to that, and now, you know, Terrence just helped maintain that, along with, you know, a lot of other help. But to have spectacular players and spectacular talents that could become hang your jersey worthy is pretty cool.
This game has a little bit of extra edge to it, Coach. Still a bad taste from the game at Breslin, and Tom Izzo looking for a milestone. Are the players a little bit more juiced up for this game?
I don't think so. I think it's Michigan State. I think there's always a little bit of juice. You know who you've got, and I think they beat us. So I think from that standpoint, I think all the other sidebars, you know, don't mean near as much to the players as they do to everybody else. I think it's Michigan State. They know what they're in for. You know, it's 1 of 20. They know you know, we let them know every game they play with Michigan State's hard. It's a hard-fought game, and it's what it is, and they're, you know, they're going to be in for it. You know, so it's all the other stuff is for everybody else to talk about. So, you know, it'll be a typical Illinois Michigan State game, I would think. So we'll approach it that way, and know we've got one right after it.
Brad, to go back on Terrence, I know you'll go obviously anywhere for talent, but when you go to Chicago, how different is it now? Io been through what he was and starting for the Bulls, Terrence All-American and now in the NBA as well. How much does that help your brand, your appeal, you feel like up there in particular with those two?
What helps Io's playing for the Bulls too. I think there's obviously some, those are great success stories, and they worked. We've been, very successful doing that. We've been, I don't say somewhat selective in terms of making sure we've got the right guys that fit who we're about and what we're doing. I've said it. This is as great a state as there is for basketball and high school basketball, and we want to be able to keep those guys at home. The landscape has changed, as kids leave, in high school. But it's really got to be an incredible experience for those guys to know that their jerseys are in the rafters and they're part of what is, such a storied city, and they're from there. And I mean, everybody talks about, Chicago high school basketball, and to go to a university, and your state university, have your jersey retired is a pretty special deal. It doesn't, and it helps us. There's no doubt, we're excited to continue that process.
Brad, you alluded to it with KJ hopefully playing more than 9 minutes, but when you talk about just new experiences for him being 18 years old, you talk to him about not pressing to try to make up for a month ago, or is there anything to that at all?
Not with him. Not with him. He's pretty much in the moment, game by game. I think he's pretty good the moments he was in there. I don't think there's anything to get uptight about. I mean, it was, calls happened. It was the swing of the game. It was whatever happened in the game. But that was for young guys. That's a long time ago. Been a lot of good things happen between now and then.
I guess maybe outside of Michael Beasley, because his single season was probably, I don't know, one of the best you've seen. Where's Terrence? What he did last year kind of rank among those?
It's up there. It's up there. We've always had, here we've had really good players that we run actions to. We put them in places to play. Terrence scored so organically. We didn't run a lot to Terrence last year. We got to, a place where, Marcus had the ball a lot. And Terrence was, he's by far and away the best downhill head rammer driver that I have ever coached. And that's not even close. And, you take away the, 6 games and he still shot 286 free throws. But his clutch shot making, the improvement he made on the defensive side was every bit as dominant and as good as what he did on the offensive side. So I would put it up there. It would be right toward the top. It was pretty elite stuff. His improved free throw shooting, his the only thing I really had to write him about was his rebounding. I thought he could be he set the tone early at UCLA in that first game with 10 and a half, and I don't know if he had 10 in a game the rest of his career. So, I would write his ass about that, but what a heck of a year. I mean, just a phenomenal year, and to do it on an Elite 8 team that was good. Yeah, heck of a year.
Brad, I'm fascinated by how Jake Davis's role has kind of evolved as the season has gone on, and just, first of all, did somebody have to sit him down before the season and go, hey, look, being a role guy and being an energy guy here is different than being a 30-minute guy at Mercer. Like, this is new for you, and how has that role kind of evolved as we've gone into January and February and March?
Jake has just done Jake. if that makes sense. And we haven't had a conversation about, hey, you're gonna be a role guy, you're not gonna do this, you're not gonna do that. No, it's find your way. And we leave that up to most of our players to do that. He's earned the right to do that. And the one thing he's done is very, very consistent. He never, for lack of a better term, he never screws the game up. He just makes right plays, and he is elite at what he does, and what he does is what we ask, and he's just mastered it. He's a very, very high IQ player. He is a guy that finds spots. You don't look at him and think, well, he's going to be ultra athletic. He's fast. He's got great pace. He gets open. He's got a great quick release on his jump shot. He offensive rebounds every time. He's sometimes undersized in matchups, and he fights. He just never messes the game up, and there's a lot of confidence in that. And as an elite shooter, space. One of the hardest things to do, and when you play the way we play, is you have to be intellectual. You have to have some IQ. Otherwise, you screw up spacing all the time. You can, it's one of the things we watch for when we recruit is, who's the guys who just run around or run to the ball all the time. Well, they're usually not the highest IQ players. Jake just stays spaced. He knows how to play. And there's great value in that with us, and you're right. He's you start putting him out there with with KJ and Tommy and Ben and guys that are Bam. You start putting him out there with guys who create space, and all of a sudden we can open that floor up pretty good with him out there. So it's been really fun to see him grow.
Coach, how's Trey White looked in practice? Are you anticipating him being back in the rotation? And how's kind of the overall health of the team heading into the game?
We're better. Tommy didn't practice yesterday again, but he'll be back today. He was very restricted yesterday. There's still a good amount of swelling in that. Yeah, we're going to try to win. I'm going to put the best guys out there that fit, and had some conversations with Trey, and he's back healthy, which is good. The point of the year, we're going to put guys out there that play well together and help us fit, and whatever goes beyond that is you guys can make up and create and write about if you want to, but we're going to try to win.
Brad, we've seen KJ and Will share the court a decent amount. As far as playmaking goes, I know it's been kind of interchangeable in terms of on the ball, off the ball. How is their playmaking meshed together in terms of who's doing it and what that means for the other guy?
Yeah, the one thing we've done with Will is the second group all year long, Will's run the point. So we've been involving his decision making, his running the team, his handling of the ball, put him in spots where he's got some space, and secondly, he's got opportunity to facilitate for others. So, and it's a nice, it's a nice yin and yang. I mean, they can both, KJ can play off of it, come off zooms. Both those guys are pretty much interchangeable. Will's not going to be as, quite as far along as KJ is in terms of ball screens and some of those things, but he's not far off either. So, both those guys are facilitating for themselves and for others, and that's a good thing.
Brad, obviously, you've changed in the last month with your health for this game and this matchup, but how has Michigan State changed at all? Have you seen, seems like Richardson's playing a bigger role?
Yeah, Jace is really good. Their bench kicked our butt. I mean, Cohen Carr and Fiddler and Cooper and Jace, those guys were great. They had, I thought we guarded them pretty well. I thought we had some really good physical contests at the rim that they finished. I thought that, Jace is a guy that's, I think he just had a 28-point game. that's been, you know, it's a big number. You know, that's a guy that can go get him. Tom's going to play all of his front court guys, but you look down and all of a sudden you start seeing, okay, you know, Carr's played 24 minutes and he's got 12 or 14 points, and Fiddler comes in and, you know, he's impacting and in a lot of different ways, with rebounding, with shooting the three, with you know, pull-up jump shots, and you see how their depth has you know, started to affect games. But you know, they are who they are, and you know, Tom's got a lot of weapons, and one night it's one guy, and the next night it can be somebody else.
Scott, last one here, otherwise we're not gonna have time for Kyle.
With fewer home and homes in Big Ten play, just to expand the league, has that, I don't know, maybe created a different rhythm or pace to conference play where every game
Sure.
is essentially
Sure. I mean, I'm so excited because that was a heck of a ball game in East Lansing, and I've said it all the time. I mean, it's great for the fans. You get to see Michigan State come into our building, and it's great. You know, it'd be great to go to Pauley Pavilion and play, and let our fans out there see us play. And I miss that. I miss the true home and home, you know, feel. Yeah, we've seen this group a second time. You know, that's nice. It's fun to see how teams get better, how teams change. Very different. You know, we're not going to probably live in that world anytime soon. So where we play home and home. So it's really nice to see that our fans get, you know, we get Wisconsin, Northwestern, and Michigan State at home this year.
Okay, thank you.